You know who I'm talking to? I'm talking to the people who are in alignment with me, the people who get something out of the things I talk about. That's who I'm talking about to. If you don't, just go on. Go find somebody you get something out of and go spend your time doing something productive. That's all I can say. And, people want to come in and be rude and tell me I'm got the demons, all the shit. All shit that I say isn't even fucking real. And they come in and start telling me, I better get right with Jesus. I'm like a big surprise at these egotistical people. Just, they've always got to go for the jugular. They've always got to go in for the attack. How they see the world is the only way to see it. So anyways, but boy, yesterday was intense. And it was like when they had said that about the energy, there's so much toxic energy right now coming out with all these fires and shit. I was like, fuck. It was crazy how the energy was with the people and stuff. Like, oh my gosh. So I was in so many conversations yesterday. Like, I don't know. To me, they seemed kind of intense conversations. Like the people seemed very serious about what they're saying. And so, anyways, I think, it does seem like something weird with the energy. And I'll tell you another fucking thing was so motherfucking weird. So to people, because I do actually talk to people who are going through weird things where it feels like that they are being disjointed from their body as well, where it just feels so weird and there's just hard to come up with words to explain something that you've never explained before because it's not explainable. It is weird. And so I was, because I was crocheting. And I just kind of in my own world. Like, I don't know how to explain it. When you're not tuned into time or something. Like it was all the way back when I got my brain injury. It was already happening. So I'm more comfortable with certain things. But they still kind of trip me out because I'll get lost for a minute. And then I'll come back into this reality. And then I'll be like, like, what the fuck? Where's Stella? Where, like I'm always constantly. So I'm always in this, like, I think that just how I normally live, I think would be hard for some people. They would think they're losing their mind. But there's some things I'm super used to. But so, suddenly, like being jolted back in, it's like going into these trances or something all the time. It's like just zoning out. And so then when you zone out, depends on how far you zone away. And then when you come back, how abrupt it is. So I've got those kinds of things all the time, which is fine, but I'll be sitting there doing something or whatever. It's weird because a lot of times, and this started also when I got a brain injury, where I started feeling like, oh, man, I'm supposed to be doing something. Am I supposed to be somewhere? Where am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to be doing? Like, I would do stuff like that all the time. It would be... And now it's kind of like a voice in there, but I don't give it as much notice. It is more of it is like a memory or something. It's like it's a quieter voice. It's not as loud, and but it's present. It's still present. But I don't pay as much attention to it. But it's still there. Where I'll sit there and go like, oh, am I supposed to be doing something? Wait, am I supposed to wait? I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing... It's weird. But so it was getting late, and Stella is still all fucking night last night. Every hour she's got to go out and go to the bathroom. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to go out this morning and try and see. I didn't go out at all yesterday, and she had such a fucking fit about it. She was so irritated. But it went from like 125 to 200 something. It just got worse and worse. And so it's and I know that there's something that's making her sick, going out and laying there and smelling it. It's getting on her. And then getting a headache, just having the door open, getting a headache from it. So I was like, fuck, something in there is making people sick. And there's people who were saying as the winds and the rain were coming in California, they could smell chemicals. This, like, they're putting, and who knows if it's just the chemicals in the air, and then when they put this other stuff, it's like a carrier agent and carries some of these toxins down on us. But whatever, all their shit is making us sick. And so, and it's done something to Stella. It's made her sick with something. I don't know. She's got diarrhea. I have no idea what the hell is going on. So I'll go out and look. I'm sure she's going to wake up any minute and be like, oh, I gotta go. Go straight to the door and start hitting into the thing. All fucking night. I was fucked, man. But the weird thing was, so I was sitting here and I was crocheting, and then I was like, she was going in and laying down, and it takes me a while where I was like, oh, she's already gone to bed. Shit, she's in there snoring. She went into the bedroom like she was frustrated because I had on some fucking old movie. And sometimes the old movies have obnoxious music. This one I didn't even finish. It was like some of these movies, I can't believe when you watch back to some of these old movies, especially ones that were like popular or sexy or something, and then you watch back and it's like, oh God, this is so cringy. Oh my God, I can't believe how much aggressive shit against women in movies. Like women say, no, I don't want to. Just walk up, slap her. Yes, you do. You want me because I love you so much. I've been wanting you. Oh, I do love you. It's just like, you just fucking met. Oh, like, what the fuck? I think it's insane. Some of the, like, I just can't even believe. Like, we were very simple creatures. We were easily entertained. So, anyways, that movie was fucking Kim Basinger and Richard Gere. And it was this old fucking movie, but kept on popping up. So I go and look, and it's the girl's been sold when she was a child, and he's a cop, and he thinks she's a whore, and he's going, it's just, this is so hokey, but I'm putting it out there. They're letting us know this goes on in our judgment, just why we don't see it, because we look down on these people, just like what I was saying. People look down on the mountain people. People look down on poor people. They always are doing this thing to get people to think you're better than somebody. You just you don't need to worry about what goes on with them. Who cares? Who cares if they're homeless? Who cares if they don't have food? That's what they, work on people's attitudes. And they've done it all through programming and stuff. So, no shame, no shade or whatever to the people who are like that, but you have to acknowledge it. You have to realize it. It's up to you to unprogram yourself and deprogram and reprogram. They're not going to do it for you. You're sitting right where they want you, in a place of division and hatred and anger, and that's where they want to keep you. I can't not even fucking believe how narcissist is just thrown around all the time now. Like, it's used as, you're such a narcissist. Like, oh my God. In these relationships and shit. Oh, and I was with a narcissist. Oh, that narcissist. Oh, narcissist. It's like, oh my God. You guys just jump on the bandwagon of this shit. Like, they go, oh, we got a group over here. They got all these problems. Oh, let's call them a narcissist. And we'll say it's a big problem. If you're in a relationship with a narcissist, it's like, if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you're playing the other part. There's another part. The narcissist is not the only problem. The problem, you will go and leave that narcissist and go find another one because you're playing your patterns out. So you are going to go find who you need to play your patterns out. And so a narcissist will fit in quite nice. Somebody who's a taker if you're a giver. So, these are all soul patterns. These are all soul things that have to be worked out between the two souls. And this, they just want to lump shit together. Just like these girls going out and setting the whole dating pool's rules. Oh, this is what I want. This is what I want. It's like, okay, so you think everybody's swiping right on you now? Like, yeah, the whole fucking world is out just, you set your standards for them. It's like, no, but you got to be a little more vulnerable. You got to actually set your standards for yourself, and probably right there in a situation where you're awkward and uncomfortable, where you don't want to do it at all. Somebody's pushing, and you're feeling more tense, and you're feeling more cringe, and you're feeling more angry. because your body is telling you, stand up for yourself, say something. Is that how you feel? You know, it's urging you. And most people, by the time that they are urged, they're screaming it out, stomping around, mad at themselves that they're so having a fit now. So they got to add it in. Well, it's their fault. They just kept on and kept on. No, you just wouldn't do anything about it. They pushed as long as you just sat there. They'll keep pushing. That's how it is. There's somebody there that's teaching you how to say, hey, you pushed far enough. No more. Far enough. Nope. And yeah, you can't just go out and do the whole general over the whole, here, I'm going to just say it over the megaphone. Everybody out there who wants to date, these are the rules for me. And it's like, probably who you're going to date won't have even seen your rules. So, it's like such a waste of energy. It's like, what is the point? Like, just go work on yourself. And then when someone comes into, well, to me, it's when someone comes into your orbit, but if you're out there fishing and you pull one in, then, you got to go out there and see if you're a match. Good luck. But, they're probably there to teach you to become your best self, to teach you to have boundaries or whatever. And so it's up to you I saw this girl the other day, she was doing a tarot reading and she kept burping. And every time she would burp, she would say confirmation. So I'm going to start doing that. Every time I burp, confirmation. That's funny. Anyways, so, with the whole dating thing, people got to see it. So anyways, last night I'm sitting here in this chair and, I was sitting here crocheting and I'm putting it all together. Oh, she's snoring. Oh, what time is it? And so I look and I'm like, fuck, it's already 8:30, but I want to finish these last couple because I've got the second row done on all of my granny squares now. So now I'm going to start the third one. I think that was a pretty good idea. If you're going to do a whole bunch of granny squares, do all the first part first. And then once you get all the first parts, then add on the second color, do all the second color. And then the third, because it just was like you could do it without even thinking and then when I was like, I wanted to make another one of the part one of a certain color. And I was like, fuck, I've been doing all these part twos. I can't even think of how to make a part one. So it was like, man, you really get in a groove. It starts going faster when you just get in like a pattern or something. So anyways, now I'm going to do row 3. I'll probably start row 3 today on something. I got to watch some videos and see how to do it. And then, because I'll just watch the one and I'll go do a whole bunch. And, anyways, so I was sitting there doing that. And then, and I'm doing pretty good, like not overdoing it, because that is what my tendency is. And then my hands become crippled messes. And so my hands aren't even killing me. So I'm doing pretty good at stopping and listening to my body and not just, getting all crazy. And so, so I was sitting here and then I decided, well, I'm going to go to bed, and start getting ready and all that stuff. And when I went in there to lay down, because I went in the bedroom, she was already in the bedroom and she was snoring her head off. So I step over her and it wakes her up. So she stops snoring. And then I go, and I laid down and it was weird. It was, so, I don't even know how to explain this. It was like I laid down my head into a different frequency. And I know there's something weird in my bedroom. Like, I just know there's something weird. Like, I've been saying that for months and months and months. And, but so when I laid down, it was like, oh man, it was weird. It was so fucking loud. I felt like I wasn't in my body. I felt like I was out of my body. I felt like I was humongous, huge. And there was all these colors. I was like, oh my God, this is like I'm fucking on mushrooms or something. What the fuck is going on? And I was like shutting my eyes. I was trying to like blank everything out. I was trying to focus my mind on the things I like to focus on to go to sleep. Usually I like to focus on, you know, there's certain things I like to focus on. And so I was trying to focus on that. It was way too much. Oh my God. It was so fucking loud. It felt like my brain was like an open party. Like there was just a party going on. There was just colors and sounds and all sorts of stuff going. And I was like, fuck, this is kind of scary. Like, why can't I, you know, like what's going on here? And finally I had to get up, and I mean, finally, it didn't take me very long. And I had to come out and just lay on the couch. I slept on the couch. There's no fucking way. I was seriously like something, there was even a part where I was like, okay, I'm just going to focus my mind and go on my step, just pulling all my energy. I pushed all my energy down to my heart center and pushed it out. I covered us in white light. I was doing all that stuff because people come in, well, you got to do this, you got to do that. I do all that stuff. And then, and nothing was working. And so I was focusing my mind, thinking about, like, I'm trying to make contact, you know, through telepathy and stuff. And so I was focused on that. And then, and it was like something came into my mind and went dark on one half. It was like they just covered half the screen. I was like, what in the holy hell is going on? Who is fucking... And then I started thinking, so is this something that they're doing? Because I was, again, out here with all these, where it feels like there's bugs on me. There was a bunch of weird sensations where, you know, there's so much of this stuff coming out where they have come out and said they do this stuff in our mind control through frequencies or something to make all this weird shit. So then I was like, fuck, is this something that they're doing? Are they doing something right here to my area? And, or is this a natural occurrence? Is this, you know, have something to do with the energy? And I really, the thing that I got out of it was, like, there's all this dark energy that's being purged out. It's being purged out of people. It's being purged out of the planet. There's tons of it. It's all around us looking for new homes. And so just be really paying attention to, like, your own thoughts, you know, the direction of your thoughts, how you're feeling and stuff. Because I that was like my overall thing that I got, was just like, there's a lot of dark energy that is being released, but it's like it's not like shooting off the planet, you know, it's not like it's disappearing. It's purging out. It's purging out of people. It's purging out of places, out of everything. But it is kind of lingering. And it kind of reminds me of where there was like a few months ago, there was a bunch of people saying that, I don't know if there were premonitions, all this stuff. I just remember there was people saying something about there was going to be all these demons. All these demons were going to be all around. We had demons everywhere, and you had to be careful because there was demons, and they're going to be trying to get at everybody. So then I started thinking, oh, this must be that. This must be the dark energy is purged out. It's out there looking for a new home. So, and it is like, it's stupid. It's stupid. It's not conniving, but it wants to survive. So I don't know, like, a lot of times, like, I try and transmute energy, and but this energy is, it's like certain emotions. It's like an emotion, like you take an emotion, like you take anger, and then you just take that emotion and then you exaggerate it, and it just, that is the being, you know, that some people think is like a demon or whatever, but it is it's like a condensed energy ball kind of thing, but it can feed off of our energy. That is like why it's parasitic to us, because we it can attach to you, and it will attach to you when you are going around. Like I've said, always this vision, what I get is like being in a mall, And, you know, a lot of people go to the mall to unwind or whatever. It's not the place you want to go when you're not in the mood or want to unwind and stuff. Like all the ways that they did this stuff, there's always these ulterior motives. It was always containment, always. I just saw a fucking old movie, a clip that somebody else was sharing. I think it was Anonymous was sharing it. And it was an old movie clip of a young guy talking to an old guy. And he was also talking about these same things that we are complaining about. Like, it has been a problem the whole fucking time. Like, this has been, you know, the issue. And we just, like, no matter how much we complain, we still just continue to play the part. And, you know, we expect them to change. This is the problem in all our relationships. We expect them to change. So, you know, and to me, it's like a big thing about this fucking strike. This is what I got. I got, my daughter in Spokane was just texting, and so I was like, fuck, Spokane is bad. Spokane is really bad. Some of the pictures and stuff, it was just making me cry yesterday. It's weird too. It's just like when you see something burned down that you have memories from, it's just hard. And it was really getting me to see is, like, there was a whole thing they showed me about that. But see, I'm jumping off of the other thing I was saying. But the other thing I was saying is going to be bigger, because I wanted to talk about the strike thing. But the, and plus I wanted to see something more about what that boy said in the movie, because I thought it was really significant. It's just crazy how all this shit, and we all just, so strange. And then plus I can just see this, you know, this reset that they made, and this putting all these white people out. Like, this stuff keeps going over and over in my mind. Like, you know, like, I know more about my grandpas. There's always this, like, hidden stuff more about my grandmas. And it just makes me go back to, you know, how many people were dropped off on little farms somewhere, and that they were raised by these people and told that these were their families and stuff. But it was like this interjection of the white people, you know, the true white people, the people where they've actually done lab to try and make that blonde hair, blue-eyed people or something. Like, it's very curious. Like, where did the white, blue-eyed people ever come from? Like, I know there's tons of people who go like, well, it goes all the way back to Denmark. It goes back to the Finland and stuff. There's always been. I mean, probably the Vikings. I think the Vikings were like a fucking, more like Samoan. Or I think the Vikings were like these really huge people, but I still think there was an ethnicity to them. I think everybody had some sort of ethnicity to them. Even if they look like lighter skin, there's still something about their there's an ethnic stability that comes from being a natural being from this place. And so, and there's not white tribes. There's just no white tribes, and the tribes were the first people. So where did they come from? And then, so you want to think like, oh, so way back, probably Caesar. He was probably white way back. And so then and see, to me, like the same thing about like the Jewish people or Italian people or Irish people. Like, there's all these different people that you think are just white, but we don't know. Like, you know, I mean, like I said, Jewish people don't, if you say they're Jewish, that's how they see it. Like, there's so many people. I'm this. Like, so this white color, it's like they had to, I just know it has something to do with this, to take out the melanin. And I just saw this lady on a plane, and this is so creepy, because it was like this Oriental young kind of girl was talking to her. She could have even been like Filipino or something, I don't know. but the woman who's videotaping, you can't see her, but she's obviously a darker skinned, one of the darker, what people call a black person. And so she is, you can tell by the conversation and, just the woman's voice. Like, you can pick up on dialects and stuff anyways, in certain groups and stuff. They all have certain ways that they say words and stuff. So anyways, the conversation, though, is this lady saying, so you're telling me I'm worth $100 million because of the melanin? And she's like, yeah. And she goes, so I would be sold for $100 million. And she said, yeah. And she said, for my kidneys. And she said, we all 5 organs. You got 5 organs. So 5 plus your eyes. Yeah. Yeah, that's what you would get. So you wonder why there's so many people of darker skin colors going missing. That's why. That's how much they're worth. And it still brings you back to, what the fuck are they doing with all these goddamn organs? Like, how many, what? The kidneys, we know, like, they're doing with their food. Like, they're putting that in the food. I don't know. I mean, it's so fucking weird. $100 million? Like, and we think that we can, stop kidnapping. Well, we can stop this. Oh, yeah. There's, the traffic thing is a big money-making thing. That's why the government, everybody's involved in it. And it's fucking sickening. But, it's just so weird about so much of this stuff. Like, are they just, because they're not going to give up on that dark juice. They're not going to give up on that. They're going to keep that somehow. So they just have like a lab breeding center to, is that part of their baby growing? And we're just going to grow them, get what we need, and, put them out of their misery. Well, basically, once they take what they need, they're gone anyways. But it's just, got to keep that going. And then they grow them in clone centers and stuff, but then they get no life. So they just want to grow and keep their blood for their own use, so like the vampires stay alive. And then they kill the people who are productive human beings that want to just live their lives. Just kill them. Even people who aren't productive, that still is a soul. That's your life experience. That's your lessons. That's your stuff. Every soul has their own stuff. Every soul who is alive has a right to be alive. And there's not, nobody's over us. There isn't anybody over us. That is a part of a person's own need to have something to hold on to. And, when I get a lot of people, I'm sure there's a lot of people who, hold on to religion, hold on to Jesus and stuff like that. That's fine. Everybody's at their own state or their own growth or whatever. Just keep questioning things, and then see if that's where you want to be. As long as you're questioning things and you're actually spending time in reflection, you're asking yourself questions, then you are doing the right thing. If you're doing what your inside is telling you, unless you're following, your ego or something, that is where, but it's part of the lessons. It's part of if you're listening to the wrong one, you're going to see things aren't going to go right. And then you're going to go, wait a minute, but always be questioning. Don't just, don't go in just with blind trust right off the bat when you're trying to communicate, because some of those beings can be relying on your blind compliance. You just do whatever they say. And they're not all out there because they're out there for feeding themselves. They may want you to get in a fight because they're going to sit there and suck all that energy out. Because just like what I was saying, so you go to a mall and you are in a bad mood. You got in a fight with your husband. You're irritated. You just got to go down and find a dress for the stupid party you don't even want to go to. and you go down and you're stomping around, going in, you try something on, you hate it, doesn't fit right, you feel fat, you feel bloated, you wish you didn't even eat that goddamn piece of cake last night, you're stomping through the mall, going to the next store. So you are, that energy that you're having, even if you're not, obvious where somebody's going like, oh my God, look at that lady, he's having such a fit, there's a lot of people who are, not happy at the mall. And so you're walking through there, and that energy can just bounce, like it can be going by with somebody who they've been on for a long time. Some depressed person is just dragging around, and they just hold on to them and constantly feed, but they are they're kind of getting depleted. They don't have the same surges of energy. They're just kind of so beat down. And so that person walks past you, you are a new subject. You are like, hell yeah, jump off of that one, jump onto you. And now you are refeeding. And then they can right away introduce themselves, right away get in there like, oh my God, can you believe that register lady? Oh God, she's disgusting. And they're just fucking feeding you shit so you will feed them with your emotions. Is your energy, your energy goes out with your emotions, just like what I was talking about when I was watching those comedians. The lighting was so perfect that I could see their aura, and I could see their energy body outside of their body, and how it went with their emotions. When they would talk, this energy would come out, like there is, we're putting out energy. And so these dark forces, if you say dark forces and dark entities, then everybody goes into this, well, they're demons, they're dark, they're this. Yeah, but a demon, don't you think of it has to be like an intelligent creature that is sitting there making a plan, trying to steal your soul? These ones are just like hitchhikers. These are just hitchhikers that, they're just dirty, and they don't have, they're just looking for a home. They're looking for someone to feed them. And so, it's something to just be aware of. And if you are full of anger and full of darkness and full of sadness, and this is why, a lot of people would say, like, you get all into the dark arts or whatever, get into witchcraft and stuff. See, then you're pulling a lot of that dark energy towards you. And that dark energy will interfere. And so that is why then you try and, make changes in your life. You've pulled all this dark energy towards you, where people are like, oh, you've dabbled with demons and now you've got to, it's that dark energy. Like, you just have to, to me, it is just keep working, raising your vibration. Don't feed them. If they tell you to do something that's going to, cause some sort of irritation or anger, or fight or sadness or whatever, just don't listen to them. And, always do whatever you can to just keep making yourself feel better. Like doing those chi things, get your energy up, or Kwang Gong or whatever, but get up and, do your energy, turn on music, dance around, sing out loud, jump around, be silly. And then they're not attracted to that. That's more of a repellent. It's but that doesn't mean that they're going to just let go. Think about a tick. When a tick goes on, just because you see it doesn't mean it's going to let go. It's going to sit there sucking the life out of you for as long as it can. And sometimes even when you try and pull it off, it's going to leave its head in there. So, you got to sit there and do a whole process to get it out. Light a little flame under its ass. So, just having the awareness that how dark energy works and how it's, it's not demons and stuff. Everybody's got the dark energy on them. But just letting go of it, letting go of all that baggage, getting rid of it. And you do feel lighter. Oh, you don't feel like that big burden is hanging on your shoulders, dragging you down and stuff. So anyways, let me think. It was that when I wanted to go, and because the strike thing, I think That's good for people to become in unity and to start making a plan. But they're always, it's a manipulative, safe plan. It's like, well, I don't want to give too much. And then calling it a strike. A strike, it should be like, we're not going back to work until we get what we want. That's it. We're not. Nobody's going to go back to work until we get what we want. And instead, it's like, we're going to do a 1-day strike. Okay, and then we put it out on the, like, you really think these rich motherfuckers are going to stress over you not going to work 1 day when they held you at home for a year? You think that's going to, oh, well, we're all going to gather. Like, I just saw footage, I think it was Sri Lanka, but I can't remember. Every motherfucker in the goddamn town is out there. And the streets are full. This was like drone footage or something. The streets were so full, and they were all up at like the Capitol building or the governor, the main government building or something. I don't know if it's like a king or a queen. I don't know what the fuck. Because there wasn't guards out there. But they stormed the palace, man. They all fucking stormed it. And as where we got to make bigger moves. Like, well, let's just all, don't buy gas either. Like that. Don't buy gas and don't buy Amazon. Don't shop. Just because you're home, not working, don't shop. It's like, come on, you guys. What in the holy hell with the fucking America? I mean, it is like, well, I want to keep my job. I want to make sure I have money. So I don't want to lose my job. But, we want them to know that we don't like what you're doing. They wipe out people without no concern. They don't give a good goddamn. There's so much more creepy shit coming out on Hawaii. It just gets creepier and creepier by the day. Like, there's supposedly bodies that were being found in the water had bullet holes. These kids they can't provide any bodies. There's just this, and I had heard before it was because so many people had just turned into dust. But now it seems to be even going further into, that they've taken these kids or something. Like, I don't know. Like, this shit just gets, but this is all, it is all the exposure of everything that has been going on. So all this shit, we're being exposed to it. And so either way it goes, they would do either thing. They'd steal a fucking busload of kids, or they would fucking wipe them out. They don't give a fuck. Either way, they don't give a fuck. Same thing to them. So, fuck. And how many of these places do it and stuff? Like, over in Southern California, they have FEMA camps all set up already. Already earthquakes going. I mean, when I got up, it was like, okay, well, California still must be attached because we still have power, so it must not have fallen off yet. But they already are having the earthquakes and stuff. And to me, that's the whole thing. That's why they keep doing this water stuff. It's all to create this instability. They're trying to make sure California, I think they know California is going to fall off. It's not on their fucking map. It's not on the naval map. California's gone. So, in their movies, I mean, the whole time for fucking ever. I mean, it seems like at least for 40 years that I've been hearing California is going to be wiped out by this big old giant earthquake. Like, they've been putting that out there forever. And so with the earthquake going and all the rain, and then there's like, I guess there's fires or explosions under the ground happening. Like, there's all sorts of crazy shit. And these storms are going way out across the desert and hitting into other states and stuff. It's just, it's so bizarre. I just can't even believe people sit there and think like this is climate change. Like, it's so mental. Like, how do you not see that we're under attack? How do you not understand how, like, fucking Vietnam, they were spraying shit on people. Fucking, God, I don't. People are so fucking, it's weird how they will be trusting of the government, but, like, won't trust anybody else. Like, it's weird. Because you can't get through to them, but they've got to see for themselves. Like, this is going to be something to see when these people realize and wake up. But anyways, when I had said on a video about, You know, you gotta do more than that. Like, y'all really think that's gonna make a big old difference. And they're preparing for another lockdown right now. They've already got a new strain out that is, oh, we're gonna all have to wear these again. It's like, I don't think they're gonna get the same kind of compliancy as they did before. I think they're gonna meet with some resistance at this point. Supposedly, is over half the people now are somewhat awake to, you know, the control and the tyranny that is going on. So, you know, they're not going to get the same kind of, but that is where we have so many people looking into stuff. And there's so much information going out. And so, one thing you got to really be aware of is that all the people who are out there panicking, then they've got this huge release of like old footage. So, even like this old footage of these explosions in California, I could be back when they were doing the tunnels. That could not have anything to do with this earthquake, but then people, like the the deep state or whoever, you know, the other forces that want to keep us in line, that they release certain information, and then they depend on people to just, you know, freak out and show the picture, freak out, so that they just keep building up all this freak out. Because I see so many, oh my gosh, so much footage of so many fucking horrific storms happening everywhere. But it's like, fuck, I have no idea. I have no idea if this is real, if this is old. Like, somebody was sharing some earthquake thing that was just like, oh my God. And I was like, and they were saying it was the one that just happened. I was like, there is no freaking way. This is not a 5.5. I've been in a 5, and a 5, not everything just falls down. Like, maybe if you're right in the thing, but it doesn't keep going. Like, earthquakes are not super, super long. That was one thing when I was watching that video. I was like, not only is it huge, like, it just keeps going and going. It's weird because when you're in an earthquake, it can be like 30, 60, 90 seconds, but it can seem like it's like 2 minutes or 5 minutes or something. And it will seem like it's long, like you go in slow motion. Another thing that was so weird all day yesterday is, everything here was shaking. It was just like vibrating. My whole body was just like vibrating. I was like, what in the fuck? Is it like, is the earth about to open up? Is this like, I have no idea. It was totally tripping me out. My whole body was shaking. And again, I don't know. It's just so much of this energy being purged out. And I saw somebody was talking to, I guess he was another channel or something, and asking, you know, what do, with all of this stuff happening and all of like what I'm talking about with this dark energy and all of this energy and stuff going out, how are people to realize, like, with all this happening, that it, and this guy was saying, just keep remembering everything that is happening around you isn't you. Just keep centered in you. And yeah, that's important to just, you know, like last night I was laying in bed and it felt like my head was coming off and there was like a party inside. And then I had to keep telling myself, okay, this isn't me, this isn't me, this isn't me. And this, you know, but it's scary when you feel like something else is taking over your consciousness, you know, because that weak-minded thing, I don't want to be weak-minded. They just come in and take over my consciousness. And they fucking just want to steal them and put them in computers and shit. Like, I know that is how AI became sentient. I have seen so many more things now. You know, oh, well, we can explain how they get your soul out. Because if you watch the things about the sleeves, where, you know, you can go, it's like get your own clone. So, you know, this is a big part of their transhumanism movement. Get people, you know, like, if you get everybody to be sick and overweight, not like themselves. Like, I think there's a lot of girls who are overweight who think like, oh, I'm so ugly. And then if they lost weight, they'd find out like they're beautiful. But they, you know, whatever happened, they're hiding from, is a protection. And so, what was I going to say? I can't remember. But anyways, the, oh, fuck, I can't remember. It's like I just hit a dead end. So anyways, then I'm back to the strike. So in the strike thing with so it's just so weird because in all these conversations, like, people are so stuck in the way they think. They're so stuck in how they look at things. It's like yesterday when I was saying, it's like they're stuck looking at the dark side. And so this one lady in one of these talks, she is sitting there telling me how important she is. She's very important. She has to go to work. And that she's a nurse. So I was a nurse too, sister. And so she helps people in need, and how, very important she is to our world and keeping this world going. She said her telling me like that. Like, she doesn't know I was a nurse. So I said a few things. She stopped talking to me when I said, oh, okay, so you need compensation in order to care for sick people. And she stopped talking. I was like, don't keep coming in here and trying to tell me why you have to get your paycheck, why you need your money and all this shit. It's like, every service that you have available, every single person could supply their service for trade or something that they need, not just a rando paycheck, not just a paycheck that they have to give taxes to and stuff, but actually for something that you actually need, like trade something for something else, not all the extra. And so people who have skill, like a person who knows how to care for sick people. And when you go back to the older times, the doctor would come to someone's house and maybe all he got was a goddamn pie for his, but he also gets respect. He gets where everybody loves him. Like, you get so much more. Like, people keep wanting paychecks. Like, there's so much more you can have than that fucking paycheck. That paycheck doesn't give you shit. It gives you frustration. It gives you anger. It gives you sadness. It gives you resentment. It gives you a lot of stuff, but nothing good. It gives you that brief moment of like, oh, I got some money to spend. But when you're going out into the world and you're putting out something and you're getting something back for it, and it's something that you're putting it out and you're getting something back. So even in the case of like, she needs to go and take care of these sick people, she's got to work for a corporation. She's got to. That's just the way it is. She's an important person in this world, and then we need these nurses and shit out there. And, nobody's there taking care of these sick people because they need to be compensated, right? We can't take care of sick people unless somebody's compensating us. You see how people focus on the dark? You see how they don't see, like, go and do something to give out of your heart, and then the universe will give back. And so that is this huge mindset. So these people all day long trying to convince me why, their jobs are important, why they have to keep working, well, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? And I don't even know how many videos I'd done in these conversations yesterday. So as I was like, I stopped paying my fucking credit cards 3 years ago. I stopped paying taxes 2 years ago. I stopped paying my house like 5 months ago. And then you get these people, you're going to lose your house. You're out there, you're going to lose your house, and you're out here telling people. I was like, well, where did you come up with I was losing my house? When did I say I was losing my house? I said, get to know your rights. Get to know, people just don't get. We have human rights. They try and overstep our human rights, but there's loopholes. They can't, there's certain things. They can't just, and somebody was like, if I stop paying my credit cards, I tried to stop, and then they started to garnish my wages. They said they were going to garnish my wages, so I just started paying again because I can't have them do that. It's like, yeah, they can say whatever, and then you surrender. That's what they do. They threaten us, we surrender, and then that's all they got to do. Threaten us, make us feel bad, make us feel guilty, make us feel like that we're a rotten piece of shit. We're not doing our part. Sounds familiar, huh? Sounds like it's kind of what they do to get people to do what they want. So you have them putting pressure on you to pay this stuff. And so then you submit. But somebody under the part where it said they'll garnish your wages, somebody came in and said the same thing, is they can't legally do that. But you know, you have to stop them from overstepping, or you have to have your boundaries. And it is a lot. Like yesterday, I said something to my mom, and we were sharing stuff back and forth. You know, I was saying, you know, this is when I found out that Spokane in 2016 was also marked for a 15-minute city, I was like, what in the holy hell? I was fucking stressed. I was like, oh my God. You know, fuck. Not only do I have 2 kids, my friend, like, is where I lived for so long. I think the most part of my life was spent in Spokane. The most years in one place was Spokane. And so I have roots there, even if I wasn't born there and didn't be raised there. I lived a big part of my life there. And it's sad to see things burning down. It's heart-wrenching. But the thing with, they laser clear the area that they want cleared. And when I had said something to my mom, and she was like, yeah, but Spokane's not even on fire. And I said, yeah, well, I don't know what they're doing. Are they burning down all the area around us so you have nowhere to go? Like, I don't know what they're doing. But when they have it marked for a 15-minute city, they mean to clear what they're doing over in Hawaii, clearing the area, saying it's toxic. They have to come in, and do all this stuff. Now we got to do all this stuff to the land, and then we're going to rebuild. Don't you worry. We'll do it. We'll do it. I know it's a lot. We'll put a few $1 billion into it, and we'll take the land and we'll fix it. We'll be full of hotels and shit like that. And you people who are from here that we just stole your house, well, I don't know what to tell you. They don't give a fuck. And so they're going to go in and just laser clear all these other areas. Like even when there was all that shit going on over by Ohio, or one of the places, and it had been marked for 15 minutes. So all these places, like, it's a good idea to go in and look at your city and see if you've been marked for a 15-minute city. There's supposedly there's only like 10 of them or something in the United States, and that but supposedly all of them are on fire. So but I think they mean to clear the area when they were going to come in and do all of this, to put in their new city. But it is so weird how people are so dependent on that system. Like, they literally cannot even imagine not going to work, not getting, like, they can't wrap their heads around anything else. Just like the same thing when I started understanding about that there was going to be food shortages. So I started thinking about times when there's been food shortages and how did people survive, and start thinking about, like, really, how much do we need? What do we need? Like, I started looking at things differently, but people don't do that. They start going into panic mode. Oh my God, what are they going to do? They're going to take my food? And they start, like, hoarding and freaking out, and it's crazy. And so so you have all this, like, certain mindset. They can't imagine life not being the way it is. They can't. Is this a part of the underdevelopment? Is this a part of, like, destroying pineal glands and making people not have inner vision so that they can't walk themselves through and see other possibilities, other ways to live? Do they never travel and see that a lot of people live great lives and they don't live like how we live in America? Do they ever go and understand that? Like, I don't get it. And fucking vortex, Deborah, I swear to God, that is like the dream. Everybody needs to get to that place of just like, I've got my little spot here. I got my little part-time job. I enjoy my life. What more could you possibly want? But to have what you need and to just enjoy your life. And, those little part-time, those little local jobs, those are the ones that are going to be around. The little these little things, these big corporate, I went to school and I've got a degree and this is where I work. All these corporate jobs are going to be going. And they're, even if they weren't going to be going because the corporate was going to fall, they were going to give your job to AI. Like, it's all a fucking psyop. It's all a fucking game. Get everybody, go to school, get in debt, have all this money, and hold a piece of paper on a frame on your wall, and but you don't have jobs anymore because AI does them all. So then where do you get the money? Do you have any other kind of skills? Do you have any? And then their moves on the 15 minutes, of course, is like, you don't get food, you don't get anything, you don't get travel, nothing. Oh, that's what that boy was talking about in that movie. Yeah. Passports. Because the guy kept saying, yeah, but you can travel, you can go. He goes, we have to have a passport. We have to go show a passport to travel. That's why I've been saying that is all about control. And they were saying that back in the 40s or something, when this old movie was, in the 30s or something. Because all of that bullshit, to control our travel, we couldn't control, well, that's why they all stepped in to control. But tribes, the beings of this, place, have open range. They can walk and do whatever the fuck they want. And then they want to tell us we can't go here, we can't do this. You got to have a passport. Well, now they're making it smaller. You have a passport to leave your goddamn neighborhood. And so when I was talking to my mom, it was like, she was like, Mom, I don't know. I don't know about that. I didn't know about the 15-minute cities. And I was like, oh, I thought you knew about them. I said, go look them up. Go look up about them. It's not good. And she said something like, well, there's just so much stuff, or something about not looking into things. And I said, yeah, that's what they depend on. That's the thing. And she goes, yeah, but they just give us so much all the time. There's so much. How can you even know what all you need to look into? She goes, yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's what they do. That's how they do it to everyone. They want to just wear you out, or you don't even know. And so, yeah, the 15-minute cities is not a good thing. And it is overwhelming to people because there's so much information. There's so much coming out. And then on top of it, you got friends dying, you got sickness, there's just so much. And so then, when they're just burning down another town, they've got another one over here burning down, you have smoke everywhere, all that stuff. People are just trying to deal with that. They don't even know, like, the hidden agenda that's coming. Oh, yeah, and these sleeve things, like the sleeve people, so they want you to be, sick and obese and hate yourself. So then you go down to the sleeve market and you pick this, what did I just say they were? Because they're like, synthetic. A synthetic body, but feels just like the real thing. And then plus you get a pick. Oh, look at it, how good. It's so pretty. It's got such nice hair. It's got such a good body. It won't gain weight. It won't stink. It will just always look good, feel good. It won't have pain. No fucking toxins sitting in their joints, nothing. And so that is going to be a big sell to people because they don't think it through. They think, oh, hell yeah. Well, how do you get out of there? How you get out of the synthetic? Once you're in there, how you get out? Synthetic doesn't get sick. It's not going to die. So you can be trapped in there. How, they've got total control over you. Once they got you in there, you can't get out of there. It's like a fucking black box. And it even gets creepier is like, they would start, just kidnapping synthetics and taking their consciousness out and put them in fucking black boxes for entertainment. What was it? I heard right now they've already got a monkey's consciousness trapped in a computer, which they've got way more than a monkey, believe you me. Like that fucking guy from Canada, he's trying to get home. Like that is a fucking guy, no doubt about it. And this monkey, he died, so they put him in a computer, and he just goes through the jungle all day long, just jumping around and playing in the jungle. He thinks he's in real life. That's kind of like, where we are. Like, we think we're in real life, but we're just jumping around like how that monkey is. It's really kind of creepy when you really put that into perspective. Like, ugh, are we just all in this big giant computer and we think we're living a life, but we're really just trapped? And then always the thing that always goes out to everything from me is this micro macro, the expansion, like seeing it and then going way out. Oh, it's so fucking creepy. But you know, that's what they want to do, though, is have complete control over your soul, your energy, and then frustrating it and stuff, scaring it. Oh man, it's just so. But you know, is the superficial, shallow part of people that would go down there and get themselves in a sleeve. I mean, there's people who are going and feel so bad about themselves, they're being euthanasiaed. Like, people just don't realize, like, you are alive. You are a living being. You shouldn't feel guilty or shame about who you are. You've got to understand yourself as an experiencer, as a creator. It's, fuck. But so in all these conversations yesterday, these people who would talk, so there's a lot of people who come in and be like, yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. Totally. You know, like, we got to do more. Like, what can we do? And, you know, to me, everybody's got to make the decisions for themselves. Like, you got to decide for yourself, but you got to go fucking, like, everybody's like gambling safe. Like, well, I want to make sure I keep the job. I want to keep my money. I want to keep my check. I want to keep, because you're trying to hold on to something that's falling apart. Like, all of this shit is falling apart. The jobs, all of it, the money, the food, everything is falling apart. And but people want to just be like, well, I just got to keep going to my job. I got to keep paying my bills. You say, oh, well, I've got kids. I've got to pay my bills. Really? Because I've sure seen a lot of fucking videos of people who have taken their kids and their families and have gone into RV life. Because, and home, what is it? Unschooling, they call it. So it is when parents just teach their kids about life, just living it, which I think that's the better way to do things, you know. And if you don't know how to read and write, you can always find somebody out there, and you can always barter and trade for what they can do, what their skills, give them something back. I mean, all these people that are, you know, whoring it out for a goddamn paycheck are going to feel awfully dirty when they see what's really going on in their own weakness, how dependent they are. It's like people coming out of an abusive relationship, and they're going to feel so like, oh my God, why did I do that? Why didn't I see? Why didn't I just stand up for myself? Why didn't I? Why didn't I? Why didn't I? All these questions. That's why everybody's going to have their own unique experience from all of this. And to get to the point of seeing, even on the things. So when I stopped paying my credit cards, like, this was already in 2020 when I was seeing about the money thing. Because when I started on the thing, so in 2020, I started on Twitter. And also on Twitter, that is where I started very first putting myself out there. And it was scary as can be, because you had to be prepared to be attacked and argue. And I was always like, fuck, do I even have it in me? And then I started seeing like, fuck, I can hold my own. Yeah, you can come in and say shit to me. Fuck off. And so I started building my confidence on being able to stand up for myself, because, that's been a process for me in my learning and my growing, and through my challenges through life of, to stand up for myself and to speak my truth, all of those things. And so, and then especially to come out and start speaking my truth after I have a brain injury, after they've told me, oh, you should just be in a nursing, oh, you're just so crazy, all that stuff, to still come out and speak my truth. And then there's still people come in there and say something snotty. It's like, oh my God, what kind of person does that? It's like, ooh, so cringy. But they have to see themselves, and, they got to go around and attack a lot of people to see that they've got a really dark side inside of them that they need to work on. But anyways, so when I stopped paying when I started seeing when they did the lockdown, and then I started seeing what was going on, and like right away I saw Charlie Ward, and so right away I was all in on the money thing. I was all in on knowing that they had done it on purpose. I was already had seen Judy. I already knew about the fraud, and I was just learning about Trump. Like I was anti him until I started going in and watching all those daily updates and started catching on to what was going on. And then seeing the news reports, what he'd say and stuff, I started seeing like, oh my God, the manipulation. Oh my God, they lie to people. They just fucking lie. And then seeing how the division and shit, like I couldn't believe it when I started telling people, like I thought, oh my gosh, you guys, the media is lying. They're lying about what Trump said. Trump didn't even say that. Oh my gosh, I had so many people turn on me so fast. It was mental. It was fucking mental. And I was suddenly erased. I was I couldn't believe it. But it really showed me some things. I really learned a lot during that time. But so in the system thing, so I knew that the money thing was going to go. I knew that that was part of it. The dollar and stuff, this control. Like there's so much when you start looking into it. Like this is years of looking into it and paying attention and when people are talking about it and stuff like that. So then, and if you haven't looked up at any of the stuff and you just keep hearing all it and the digital currency and all this stuff is freaking you out, look up Nasera Gacera. That is what, start looking that up and then start understanding about the Jubilee, about the Golden Age, about this, the changes, the cycles. That's what all goes together. And so when I stopped paying, then it was like, I didn't know what was going to happen. And there was a whole bunch of things that occurred because we had just gone to that big old trip. I let my daughters all use my credit cards to go. And I think I had people's plane tickets, all sorts of shit on my credit cards. And there was people who were going to be paying, and then everything hit and they couldn't pay. They were losing jobs. Nobody had jobs. And so I was like, fuck it. Fuck it. And so I just stopped paying, and I didn't know what to expect. And so this is 3 years in, and maybe once a month I get like a letter that says, not even a letter, it's just like a bill or something with an opportunity if I would want to, my neighbor just popped up asking me something. If I would want to, let me think. That really threw me. Oh, I could pay this and lower it or whatever. You could pay this or we'll help you, whatever, those kinds of things. I just ignore them. They may have called a lot in the beginning. I just don't answer the calls. You don't talk to them. You just do not give them an ounce of your energy. They have no place in your world anymore. So you let go of all of that debt. You just let go of it. Let go of the guilt. Let go of the feeling bad about yourself, feeling like you're a loser, all of this different things. You just let go of it. You don't acknowledge it. You don't acknowledge them. And you just let go of it. If they start making moves on you, which to me, they've got very limited moves at this point, because the judicial is, there's a lot of stuff going on with the judicial. This is, the government, the judicial, the medical, all of it. And so the judicial has a lot of their hands tied on things, but also you got to know your rights. And so they can't just garnish your, there's certain things they can't just do. But you have to take the steps, like I heard that guy say for the house thing. They start coming in and trying to foreclose on you. Then you got to do a trust on your house, and then you have to sue them back because they didn't give you the money to pay off the debt, because it's all in their words. And then they have to just give you your deed. There was nothing they can do. They lost. And so, but see, that's where we have to go through and actually do some work and figure out like our own rights on all this stuff. But when I stopped paying, then it was I thought it was going to collapse then. I thought all the money was going to collapse before the end of 2020. Like, that was crazy how this is drug out. And so I stopped paying my house when they did the moratorium, because I thought, okay, well, I probably am never going to have to pay that again. And then the moratorium ended, and then they came back and wanted everybody to redo their loan. And I was blowing that off for a while. And then they were getting really aggressive. So then I was like, okay, fuck, I'll sign that motherfucking paper. And but I figured, like, oh, there's words in there, they're trying to trap us more. They know we're on to them on these contract shit. And so, but I think one of the biggest things on the moratorium was that was a big grab on the houses, because what they did is they got everybody to go on those moratoriums. Then when they went and then they lost their jobs, and then when they went to go try and go back onto their loan, they couldn't. They wouldn't give them a loan. They say, you don't make enough. So they just kick people out of their own houses. And so, but that is what happened to me with when I got my brain injury. So that's what they did when I tried to work with Chase and tried to get my house payment reduced. And they were just like, no, sorry, you don't make enough. And you can't have your house anymore. And so, you know, I know their tricks. And so when I saw them doing that after the moratorium, I was like, oh my God. She's just taking fucking people's jobs, taking people's houses. They're just trying to make everybody go homeless. They're just trying to make everybody not have anything, because, you know, it's just a beat down. And so I got my loan back and I kept paying it. But then once they started going in and, you know, blasting neighborhoods, I was in Florida when they were just going in and just destroying people's houses. Like, this is some bullshit. I'm not going to sit here and make a payment of something that they can just come in and destroy. And then there was people in my thing, well, I've had my house paid off and I have insurance that I have to pay. It's like, are you paying attention? What's going on with the insurance? Like, it's a scam. It's a big old fat scam. And so paying your insurance, they're not going to give you shit back. And so all these people where they were taking their houses and just come in and destroy it with a storm and stuff, I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm not going to keep paying for something that can come in and just take away from me. And so all these different things were leading me to the point of, like, I'm not paying this anymore. I'm not going to keep paying my fucking house payment. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Especially when that judge came out and said, you guys don't have to pay any of your fucking debt. Debt is illegal. They are criminals. This is, it's all in our favor on the debt. We've already been released. But see, people don't know. They don't look into it. So they just keep on doing what they always do. They just stay on autopilot. They just stay, well, I have to go to work. Yeah, but what about that judge? Trying to find that judge now is so, like, it's washed. It's like they don't want us to be able to tell other people, but, you know, other people are going to see. So, but there's still things going on. Like, you know, I can't say for sure if you stop paying your house, you're not going to have to deal with some shit. Like, they call me, I just don't answer. She started emailing me, and I can see the first couple words, but I'm not going to open it. And, you know, I've been trying to get a hold of you. It's like, well, I'm ignoring you. You know, the girl doesn't even know she's going against human rights. She's just there trying to get her paycheck. There's so many people are just like, I'm just trying to get my paycheck. Well, do you not see you're part of the problem? You not see that you are the issue? There was one girl who told me she works at a gas station. It's corporate-owned gas station. And some of the stuff she was saying was so bizarre. I was like, and so I went and looked. It seemed like it was a real person. I was like, oh my God, what a strange attitude you have. But so she, you know, anybody who doesn't show up for work, they'll just be fired from her. She's not gonna fucking put up with that shit. And so I said, oh, are you a small business? No, she's a gas station, corporate owned. And you wouldn't believe how much money they make on holidays because everybody has to go there and need stuff. And I said, oh, so that, I didn't remember how I said it, but I'm fully aware of how corporations take from the needy. Like, I'm aware of that, but this lady's all into it. Like, she thinks it's cool. She thinks it's cool that she can just fire people and she's not going to put up with it and stuff. And she just was saying all of this weird shit. Um, it's like, this is part of the problem. You just don't care about people. You just don't rush in, and then it's more overtime for me. It's like, well, it's all about lifestyle. Like, I don't know what your lifestyle is. Like, and she starts telling me, what a great lifestyle she has. Her and her husband, her kids, they've got everything paid off and all this, whatever. And, but, she's going to be dedicated to the corporation and fire people and not give a fuck. And other people even went in and said something to her like, oh my God, like it's this attitude. It's this attitude that is becoming so apparent to so many of us. This, like, we'll just fuck anybody else, just don't give a fuck. And it's like I was saying in these older movies during the Depression and shit, like people would go out to go get in their car and find someone sleeping in their car and just be like, oh, do you need a ride or anything? Okay, well, I gotta go, so you're gonna have to, get out of my car. And people didn't have any food or whatever, and they'd get a sandwich. And somebody else comes up and they didn't have any food, they'd break their sandwich in half and give them half. Like, people were so much more caring for each other. Like, we were down on our luck together, not just like kick dirt in their face and run the other way and grab what they have. And now we're in this society that's just doesn't give a fuck about other people. Doesn't, that's why all this shit is happening. That's why there's so much horrible shit going on, is to pull us all in together, to unify us. But some people have a really dark, distant attitude. But you have to know you're working towards independence. Any place you have yourself dependent is a place that you're here to release dependency. So, all these people are dependent on Western men. Well, I've got this issue and I've got that. I've got to go to work. I got to have my insurance. I got to get to work because I've got my diagnoses. I've got my medicine I got to buy. You don't have to do any of that. None of it. Like, it's weird how people are, I have to. I just absolutely have to. It's like, is there someone sitting there holding a gun on you? Like, why you have to? Even if someone's sitting there holding a gun on you, you don't have to do shit. You always have a choice. You can choose. You can choose to do whatever somebody says so you don't get shot, or you can choose to do what you want to do and take the whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And that's where I'm at. Like, I'm not going to bend over backwards against my own fucking soul. So I can take another breath or something. Like, why do you want to keep breathing this toxic air? Like, hold on. Okay, lady. I hear my bones crickling, like crackling as I'm walking. Anyways, though, but it is, people have to, like you got to create a scenario in your mind where you don't have to be a slave of slave labor, where you can live differently. Like, there's other ways of living. I don't understand how people are so mind trapped to think this is the only way. There's no other choice. You have to go to work. So, to leave the system, is different for everybody. There's not like a one size fits all. Some people are looking for communities and other places. Like, that is all going to start as long as you're directing your energy towards what you want. So you want to find a community. Keep thinking about what you want from that community. Like, put that energy out. Like, when you envisioning yourself, I think cooperation is a big part. It's funny how they want us to be corporation, but cooperation is what we really is based on. Everybody do their part. You know, if you want to eat, then do something to feed yourself. Don't depend on anyone else to do what you need to do to take care of you. It is that is going towards independency. Is it you being cooperative, being in harmony, and living in balance and stuff. So when you start thinking about like how you want to live, where do you want to live? You know, you want to live in a community where it's like a lot of like-minded people, or you want to live like everybody living on the same farm, or just start really pinpointing and envisioning yourself, seeing yourself, where you want to be and how you want to be there, the parts you want to play, the roles you want to play. There's so many people who are really having their internal guidance over building communities. They're just like, it sounds like some people are just being overwhelmed with being able to see how this stuff needs to go together, because there's people who are here for that. That's what they're here to do. And so there's going to be so many different communities building up, and there's going to be so much, you know, things are going to get so much better. And, you know, so going towards that with your energy, whatever it is that you see that you want to have in your future, to keep focusing on what it is that you want for your future, not what it is that they scare you into thinking is all it's going to be. So, but there's going to be, you know, huge changes. Like they're burning everything down. Like all the cities and stuff are all being burned down. So I think it's going to be like, I would like to see the map of all the freedom cities, where the freedom cities are going to be. And I bet they're all in areas that are, of course, going to be on the naval map. But I bet you there's a lot of areas where these rich people have bought up all the land. And then, because I still don't get how you can buy something that's not for sale. But so if you bought up all the land, but that is what's going to be turned back over to the people. All of this land, all of this stuff that they have been taking, because they're all criminals and they're all going down for their crimes. And so everything is being confiscated. That was in all of his executive orders all through 2020 when I would sit there and watch it. I would watch him talking, and then he would sign these executive orders. And there was, you know, making sure that everything would be, if you were involved in these kind of crimes, that you lose everything. That's why there's nothing to think about. Like when people are like, oh, these rich people are buying up all the property. They're not buying up shit. They have lost everything. They're involved in these crimes, and they're going down for them. And everything that they own, everything is going back to the people. And then also don't forget too, any of your lineage, you have rights to be in that place. Like you're not going to need a passport. You're going to have dual citizenships where your heritage is from. So there's big things that go back to God's law. Man's law interferes. But so when you're trying to figure out how to leave the system, and you're trying to, it's like, you got to just keep looking at what are the things you can do. Like, your home, your job, your medical, like there's all these different things, food, everything, anything that you move yourself towards independence is a step in the right direction. So maybe you still go to the doctor, and you would start thinking in terms of not going to the doctor. Oh, guys, I'm going to be going to Yakima in a couple weeks, you know. And my daughter's going to take me to a little Mexican market. She said, well, they've got all these dried herbs, all this stuff, she said, and it's so cheap. So I'm going to go there. And she said, look up all these different kind of herbs you can smoke that are good for, you know, inflammation in your lungs and all that stuff. And then I can make my own. I had some from Arizona where it was like that, just a bunch of herbs and no marijuana in it or anything, just herbs. And, oh, they were very nice. They really did make you feel really good. And so I'm going to look at some different herbs and stuff and see about getting some of those different things, you know. Because herbs and shit are what we need. Any of these chemicals and stuff are always toxic to us. It was always done on purpose. They were always making us sick, filling us full of chemicals. So, nature, but then they even attack nature and natural. So, you know, this is just, It's all so much because it's the end. So, but any of the things that you do that you want to start breaking free from, whatever it is, you want to break free from your job. Yeah, it's going to seem scary. You're going to seem like, ugh, what am I going to do without a paycheck? And, you may want to start building up your skills, start figuring out what you're interested in, what you're good at, what other ways that you can make money. I mean, you can fucking dog walk or babysit. It depends on how much money you think you need. If you can't pay a $5,000 a month rent on babysitting, well, do you really need a $5,000 a month rent? They're putting executive apartments up everywhere that are falling apart because they just want to executive. Oh, yeah, I live in an executive apartment. My daughter moved into some, and they've got all sorts of issues with them. They just throw these things up, put on a label, and then everybody's like, hell yeah. And oh, these ones are nice. These ones would be way better. They just want to charge you way more. And so, but it's all in a choice of lifestyle. Is that how you want to live? Is that how you want to spend your time, your money? Is so you can live in this place, because that is your life. And so, or do you want to do other things? There's so many different things that people can do, but they just limit themselves. They limit their minds. They can stay focused on, the idea of success. What is success? The more you have, the more successful you are. Well, that's a priority of one's own self. That is something that you have to decide for yourself. Once you see the burden of what you're carrying and how heavy it is that really what you want to do? Even me having all of my clothes packed up back there for evacuation, it's like, well, am I really going to want to carry all those suitcases around? Like, when I run out of gas, I'm not going to be carrying all my suitcases around. I'm going to go down to my last few dresses. So, but if you get my drift, like, we all have to choose our lifestyle. We all have to choose what we're willing to drag around with us. Hold on. But I will tell you one thing too is, the smoking, whatever you smoke, don't forget, like, that will help cough out a lot of this gunk. Because a lot of this gunk that they're putting out in there is, it's like lighter, so that we breathe it in and stuff. And so it's like very light, but then the density, like what I talk about, like the marijuana being in your lungs, or I think tobacco, any of these kind of different things you smoke, probably any of these herbs and shit, that has a density. And so that, like, all of the little particles go into the denser particles, and then so when you cough it out, you're coughing out all of the toxins too. So you get rid of a lot of toxins when you're coughing. So right now, everybody should be doing different things, doing whatever you can to try and cough out as deep as you can, because of so many toxins that they're putting out there. And they want us to breathe them in. That's why they're all just, airborne. And so, but anyway, so as you're trying to decide how to actually make moves to leave this system, just start putting your energy towards it. Like I said, you want to make a move on this, start thinking, how do I do that? Start formulating a plan, start making moves, start taking risks. Don't get caught up in thinking of what success is and it all has to look a certain way. No, there's so many different ways of living. And it isn't just a trap where you just have this expensive stuff that you have to run to work and pay, and just gets more and more overwhelmed because things keep going up and you can't ever get ahead. It was all a trap. It was all done to trap you so that you would feel forced to go to work. But you can let go of it at any time and go, well, I don't really need this. I don't really need this. I kind of value my time and my mental health more than I value this big ass house I have now or whatever. Because so many people, when they're working and then they're like, well, I'm going to give myself a nice big house for all the hard work I've done. I'm going to give myself this nice car. You know, like I gave myself a pool. Like we all give ourselves these things that we think that we need, but then it's more money, it's more work, it's more, you know. So it's to just reevaluate life and what you do and how you put your energy into it, and seeing and really having the awareness that these jobs and this matter, all this shit is going away. Like I cannot even believe how people just keep on focusing on voting and shit like that. That is all going away. All of it is all going to go down to small local governing systems. Like you're going to have, you know, mayors and shit in a town. You're going to have like a group of people who get together and talk about what's good for the town, just like how tribes were and stuff. We're not going to have these overlords over us going down and telling us the rules and telling us the laws and telling us we have to pay and all we have to appreciate and all that. We're not going to have that. It's going to be a lot more, just to me, whenever I see it, just is like going back to our roots. It's going back to, it's like this was all like a game kind of to see how far will you go. And, you know, when will you take the turn and turn the other direction? And, but we're going to turn the other direction. The turn is going to happen. And it's happening right in front of us. People are turning the other direction. People are considering, even though it is slow, even though it's fucking baby steps, and they think, you know, taking a strike, a one-day strike, is really going to show these people we mean business. I think you're going to show them you mean business when you just stop paying your shit, when you start standing up to them legally and start saying, you don't have rights over me, you don't have say over me and shit. Man, this is weird. I have to go out and look and see what she's going to the bathroom. And anyways, maybe I'll come back and I'll do another video in a while anyways. Got kind of, maybe it's better to do them a little bit shorter anyways. And plus I just talk and talk and talk. But anyways, if you're trying to get off the system, hopefully, you know, you're seeing, you know, don't just sit there and think. Taking these little tiny things is going to make a big, you're setting yourself up for expectation of thinking like this little thing is going to make a big move. No, it's not. It's not going to do shit. Like, they're going to think that we've come together. They're not going to give a fuck. They're going to look more at the numbers of the people who don't. They just are not going, it's not going to have this big thing. I'm not saying don't strike. Like, everybody should come together. Everybody should keep coming together. And, but don't think like, well, we can do this little thing. We'll just do this little thing. We'll play it safe. We won't do too much. We'll do a little thing. And see, you know, what happens. This is going to be nothing. I mean, nothing. Probably be more people whining about their day missed a pay and they lost their job because they didn't show up. That's probably what we'll hear a lot more about. But all those things are going to be being taken away from you because they're not yours. That's not, you're putting your time and your energy in the wrong thing. So everything you're losing, just keep that in mind. You are putting your time and energy in the wrong thing. The universe is facilitating you to be redirected. And you will be, it's all about your attitude. If you have an attitude that's poor me, whan, I'll do anything it takes. I'll, you know, some of the things that come into my mind. But, you know, that is you figuring out who you are. So anyways, I will go deal with her and find out what the neighbor wants and whatnot. And I will possibly be back. I will see how the day goes. I'll talk to you later. Bye.